Driving down this road for an hour, trying to get away.
Okay, that sounds fine. In the meantime, we just want to welcome everybody. Welcome for once again being part of this show. Mona Lisa is going to switch to a different device so that she could try to get better internet connection. In the meantime, j'en ai toujours dit, nous saluons tout le monde qui a regardé nous saluons tout le monde qui a participé dans l'émission ça, qui c'est le MoJo Show. Et c'est une émission qui vient joindre nous chaque dimanche avec Dr. Mona Lisa Ferrari et moi-même Johnny Célestin. Et c'est un gros plaisir encore une fois pour nous ensemble avec nous. Et j'en nous fait chaque dimanche, nous toujours démarrer avec un moment silence avant même que nous introduit invité nous, our guest Anne. We just want to take a minute of silence, and this is something that we do in the memory of our many sisters and brothers that have left us either because of COVID or just because they were called home. So we want to make sure that we take a moment and to think about them. So we'll just take a moment now. Well, thank you. When I'm going to let you fix the when I just drop so that she can get a better connection. So she'll come on in just a little bit. This has been a weekly event, a weekly meeting that we have with the Haitian community, where we try to channel some of the issues that the community is facing and make sure that we bring resources and try to answer some of the questions that they have on a regular basis. We've had guests on to talk about financial planning. We've had guests to talk about how to create businesses. We have guests to talk about how people could take advantage of the many programs that were created to ensure that our businesses don't close. Obviously, a lot of our Haitian businesses were financially affected, and we want to be the show that brings information that helps inform people about what they need to do. And today, we'll have two guests. The second is not on yet. The second is Assemblymember Rodneyse Bichotte, who is on another meeting, but will join us hopefully on the latter part of the show. But for now, we have a guest, Anne Tallegrand-Cajuste, who is with us, and on behalf of the MoJo show, I just want to welcome you and thank you for your willingness to join us today. To talk to the community about the issue of mental illness. We know that with everything that's happening in terms of the illness, in terms of the pandemic, and how it has affected our community, and on top of that, the financial impact this has had on our community in terms of people who have lost their jobs, their livelihoods, and for the few who may not have lost their jobs, they probably have reduced hours. Even if they have the hours, they're probably worried about what could happen. So we're going to have a real conversation with you about what this all means and what you've seen and how people have, dealt with this, and particularly from your professional background, the recommendations that you have. So this is a long way to welcome you and thank you for being here. Just thank you for joining the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very always willing and quite excited to speak on mental health concerns, and especially as it in regards to our community. So I work at Kings County. It's a city hospital here in Brooklyn, and as you may know, it's it's in our neighborhood, middle of Brooklyn, and I have the opportunity, and I believe I'm quite fortunate to work with our community. I'm talking about Haitien, Moun Pan. Okay, Creole Mwen Pa, it's not 100%, but I'll go in and out. But
We do it that way all the time.
c'est un gros plaisir pour me travailler avec Moun Pam. Moun qui parle langue mwen. So, lem di ou se 15 kantin travail, et mwen gen patient, famille, Haitien qui vini, like souvent. Okay, and I work in the inpatient, the interné, the people that are inpatient. So I get to work with a lot of families and individuals. This pandemic, it affected us in a big way. Me personally, I've many of my friends lost their parents. I lost someone that I considered my brother at the age of maybe 42 to COVID-19. I have a friend of mine that not only her mother, but her father-in-law and her children lost three grandparents in the space of 2 weeks. I have a co-worker of mine that lost. So when you're talking about mental health and the stress and the grief, financial worries, stressors, this is like it's very unique for us in our community. We have not had we have not had such a perfect storm for depression, anxiety, um, that exacerbation of underlying conditions, I think, in my lifetime.
Wow. And before we go into the detail of it, just tell us a little bit about you. Qui est souillé? Est-ce que c'est ici tout fait? Est-ce que c'est Haïti? Et aidez-moi nous connaître. Who's Anne? Who's Anne Tallegrand? Tell us who we're talking with.
All right, so my name is Anne Tallegrand. Fait la Brooklyn. Fait la tous les deux parents c'est haïtien, et maman c'est mon Saint-Louis du Nord. I've been to Haiti several times. Pour me from Haiti, c'est après tombé de terre. I went and I worked with Docteur Sans Frontières, and I did some mental health work and some translating. So I've been to Haiti several times. I've been working in about 10 years. I started working with the homeless at first. That was my first position. And I left that in 2015, and I've been at Kings County ever since. Um, so I always worked with the marginalized and the less fortunate of the society. I love what I do. I also have a life coaching firm, also a life coach. And I'm also the first lady of Flatbush Church of God, where me and my husband and I serve as pastors of the local church here in Brooklyn as well.
All right,
I'm the mother of two.
First Lady.
Yeah. So, and I love what I do. I love people. I love Mona. I love people. I think our greatest asset is our relationship. I just want to put that out there, especially in time. As you could see, Tege moun ki pedi job yo, their livelihood, but moun yo te gen support. Yo te gen moun pou ede yo, moun sa yo te gen tout. We still have everything. And I want to highlight that as we talk tonight, where, especially our community, we are close knit, even family, we believe in friends. And this pandemic, this time, it highlighted what is important, what is really sa richesse là. Richesse là, c'est pas seulement comme qu'elle en banque, c'est pas seulement caille, c'est pas seulement machine, but true richesse. Ouais, ça les richesse là, ça c'est là gen moun qui sous nan arele yo. Richesse gen bon santé, knowing that what, my health, I'm okay. This is the true riches when you're talking about mental health. Because if you don't have that foundation, sou pa gen ou pa kampe sou sa, what voyo vin vante, you're kind of be, kind of confused and you won't know where you stand. But if you have a strong foundation, and I'm talking about family, friends, your faith, what you believe in, to be true, then when the times of uncertainty come around, you'll be better grounded to deal with it.
Great, great. I know Mona Lisa is going to have a
Johnny,
bunch of questions for you. Uh,
indeed. Johnny, please allow me to once again welcome my beloved sister. We were together on Friday for a tea party with Pastor Natasha Chloe and Congresswoman Yvette Clark, Assembly Member Rodneyse Bichotte was actually online, but Council Member Farah Lewis, all of us, we had a great time, with a bunch of sisters from Brooklyn, from all over, actually, even in Florida. We had a blast. We literally had a blast. I've been getting phone calls about our gathering. And I don't know if you want to reflect on that, but what I really want you to focus on as you respond to this part of the question is how important is it for us to have this type of sisterhood?
Right. So we highlighted that on Friday, and I don't want to leave the men out. I want the men to understand that you can replicate what I'm getting ready to talk about, and I think in a way the men do, but it's not as formal as us and as been. But it's important to have a sister circle. It's important to have a sisterhood. It's important to have those women, not only because it's a great, but remember, women we process a little different. So we process more in a way. We process our emotions more openly, and because of that, the just the fact of having someone to talk to, having someone to lean on, having someone to just listen to you, it is very, very, very important. And men, they live an average of 15 to 20 years longer than single men. I believe that is that's also a part of the benefit of having such a woman, such a person by your side, such a friend, to bounce things off of, a non-judgmental ear, someone that say, you know what's happening. Oh, you might want to hear you right now. Someone that's able to talk to you honestly and candidly. So it's very important for us to be able to share like that.
I have a truly burning question. As much as Johnny and I like to alternate, who get to ask the questions, but as I'm getting older, my memory can fail. So before my memory fail me, Johnny, allow me to ask this burning question. How can we, as a Haitian community, demystify the myths, of COVID-19? Nou gen un conseil de moun, par exemple, en Haïti actuellement, qui a gardé chaud, qui pense, oh, un tel te gen 3 jours la fè, men tombe, mouri se manje ou manje. Même dans la communauté pa nou an tou, dans la diaspora, nous réaliser qu'il y a quelques moun, malgré le coronavirus, COVID-19, yo pa konnen la différence, non seulement yo pa konnen la différence, mais comme si yo pa ka comprendre qui j'en fait un grand monde qui chita la caille, mes amis, pas jamais n'a fait moun, soudainement, mais COVID-19 entre sous lui, et puis il tombe le mourir. Est-ce que c'est manger ou manger le vrai? So, as someone who specializes in mental illness, and looking at the impacts that those who've lost their loved ones have had to suffer, because although I'm not a specialist in that field myself, but I've been having to deal with it a lot. So I find somebody like myself, getting phone calls from people on, you know what, Mona Lisa, what do you think? What should I do? This is what I'm feeling. I've been having bad dreams. So how do you deal with those types of people? And please do help me, in facing this dilemma.
So I'm gonna address the first question you asked about culturally. Like culturally speaking, take everything in context. We know for a fact that some things do happen, right? We know from our history, we know some things happen. That's fine. We got to take it in context. We can't blame someone if they have those thoughts initially, right? We cannot blame them for reverting or having that first thought to revert to what they know. Education is very important. I believe once you educate someone, give them the right information, once someone has the motivation to learn, and you say, listen, I'm going to tell you something, I'm going to show you something, map montre ou kelke bagay a lavel, e mwen vlo kompren sa map di ou la. And when you say that, one week, gen one month, gen one mouri, is a kosa yo pa. Oui, mais ça c'est pas ça. Ça le coronavirus, it's COVID-19, A, B, C, or D. You begin to give information, you begin to talk to them. And the other thing about it is, depending on the person's age, depending on the level, of understanding. They may not believe at the first time you tell them. You might have to kind of, explain to them. You might have to give them examples. You might have to give them literature, and that's okay because that's how we learn, right? So as we think about, parce que bagay manger, ça c'est un bagay, we encounter that all the time. Okay, someone can have any disease, any illness unexpectedly or with a mystery, and our community, that is the default. That's the default, right? So as we are going into 2021, we want to educate people. We want to accept people what they know. We want to accept their history, right? But we don't want to shame them what they're thinking, because if you bring the shame, it's like a part of it they'll cut off. They don't want to hear. So we won't shame them. Try to get down their throats. We'll give them information, and you will talk to them. And si vous pouvez comprendre première fois, what you're going to explain to them. Social distancing. It was tough explaining that to people and having people comply. Because we're not people that distance socially. We're people that haïtien ou boyo ou entre sou moun nan, ou ay moun you give the person a hug. In this time for our community, it was very difficult. We were doing a lot of different things. Things that was told that we was mal élevé if we did it when we were younger. Or we gave them some kind of elbow, which was very counterintuitive for me, especially because growing up, this is what you didn't do, the opposite, right? But we had to learn how to socially distance. And our motivation was to keep them protected, right? Nous t'a protégé, famille nous protège, grand moun yo nous protège moun ki- and that's why we did it. So I believe if we give people motivation to learn, motivation to, right, give them reasons, I believe they're better equipped to follow through. Now, talking about the dreams, the nightmares, the trauma, and the after effects. Our mind is the most valuable resource we have, right? But historically, we take a very little time to take care of it. And this is not even without a pandemic, without riots in the street, without, racial injustice and racial uprising, without all that. Just, everyone understands the importance of being healthy, but sometimes look our mental health. So the majority of us are already functioning in a place where we're not having our optimal mental health. And we're not even talking about mental illness, because I believe people that have mental, to my experience, they have come in contact with some kind of professional, the vast majority, at least once, right? Unless it's like the first break. Talking about the average person right now. The average person right now has been bombarded with grief, isolation, uncertainty, stress, right? And this has changed all expected parts of speciality. So the first thing I would say to someone, I would tell someone to take stock. One of the most effective things we can do to manage is to be aware of the changes. Be aware of this is what's happening. Don't be in denial. Understand that COVID, it came, it was terrible. Um, Even right? It took a lot of lives of people's loved ones. The possibility it might come back, but take a stock. Be aware. Give yourself a time to realize what happened and what changed. Things changed, and that's okay. Okay, that's the first thing. Keeping stock of recent events or changes in our routine or lifestyle, it can be a great way to recognize and accept difficult times. So accept it. It happened. We made it. Those that are here, we made it out, right? We're still here. Some of us, we lost things, but we have the opportunity to regain things that we lost. If we lost loved ones, we love them, we love that we loved, but guess what? We have peace. We have love. No one can take the love from you. And COVID-19, as long as we're able to look back and say, you know what? It came, it left, but I'm here. I'm gonna work this out. I'm gonna make it through. We're gonna do this together. My family and I. I'll look for another job. I'll fix my resume. I will do some personal inventory to see where I benefit from what happened. That's the second thing I think we can do. We can slow down. In the times of stress, our brains seem to be working harder and working over. Everything comes like it has to be now. It's for some reason our brain, when we're not doing anything, more things come. Like if you weren't working, or if you were found yourself in a place where you had a lot of time on your hand, this is a place where anxiety and stress can heighten. And so if we remember to slow down, right? Take time to relax, slow down. It can be an effective tool to lowering our cortisol levels. Nightmares, okay. Sleep. If you're a person that's having nightmares, perhaps you can incorporate a relaxing, activity before you go to sleep. Meditation. Maybe you call one of your good friends. Maybe you're the kind of person that you need to listen to some relaxing music. Just get in a place where you're letting your body and your mind set the tone for what you're going to dream about. Because we know that the mind is not disconnected from us. So what you're thinking about all day, it's what you're going to dream subconsciously, or what you don't want to think about. Someone that is in denial, or you don't want to think about anything, you just want to totally ignore things. At night, you're at more of a risk to begin to have nightmares. So I would tell people, one of the other things, commit to getting back to basics. When life is unpredictable, sometimes it's best for us to focus on what we can control, right? Everything outside is going out of control, but I can control this. I can control, what's in front of me. I can plans. I can plan for 6 months out. I can say, when this gets better, I'm gonna do A, B, or C. I'm gonna take online courses. Stay active. Watch some things on YouTube, things that I know are helpful to me. Try to stay in front of us, what we can handle. The last thing I would say would be to try to find elements of gratitude. Okay, so dealing with loss, or tough situations, can make finding small elements of gratitude challenging, but I believe gradually taking the time to appreciate the things we have, strong aspects of our day, can be a useful, positive exercise, in reducing and managing our mental health. So we're here. We have opportunity, and we have hope for tomorrow. We have the opportunity, to rebuild as a family, to rebuild as an individual, look forward to better days. I know that sometimes it's difficult to think that, you can build up your mind in time. And reading is a good resource. Prayer, meditation, trying something new, a new hobby. I'm trying to buy a new bicycle, right? Why? Because I know that physical exercise is something that does help. It helps release endorphins. It helps you, not only physically, but also mentally. And I hope I was able to cover.
You covered a lot. You covered a lot. Well, and
Indeed, indeed.
yeah,
Well,
here, a question that I have, maybe it's related to what Mona Lisa asked you, but it's much more fundamental. First of all, moi, je me fais rêve, c'est boule m'a chercher pour me jouer bon bolet. C'est boule bolet m'a chercher même. Donc, rêve moi toujours bon. Bon tête clé. But, même beaucoup j'aime gagner, non? Mais tête clé.
keep hope alive, Johnny. Keep hope alive.
Yes. I have $1 in a dream, baby. I have $1 in a dream. Mais sérieusement, question qui vraiment est intéressante, c'est le fait que dans la communauté, nous pas vraiment comprendre rôle yon monde qui travaille dans le domaine mental health, right? What this is, and you talk about sort of you mentioned part of it earlier, and it is something that maybe that's been mystified in some ways. Ou ta di yon moun, surtout un grand moun haïtien, pour la loin moun, pour le parler, la bdou, qui ça me besoin de parler à moun fait? Ça me gal dit.
Pas besoin moun kon business man.
Pas besoin moun kon a fait, et puis pour ou là, m'ka parler avant. Maman pas professionnel, pas besoin professionnel. So it's not just, and I make joke about older people, but it's really every age range. So tell us about how a mental health professional can help us, and why we should consider speaking with someone like you and others who are in this field.
Okay. So as we know, in our community, mental health is taboo. It's been mystified. It's been put in a lot of different categories. in church wise, right? So if it's not a demon, if it's not a more, if it's doing,
Mauvais esprit.
yeah, we've seen all this, all these different ways to describe mental illness or someone having concern. What I tell people is, even if you believe all of that, there's still benefit in talking to someone. The benefit in speaking to a psychologist, a mental counselor, someone that has had mental illness that is now, in recovery, tell you things. The benefit is that number one, your friends and your family, they are not trained professionals. So what they're going to say, even a church pastor or church leader, where they can help you navigate, spiritually, there's still a that you might want to evaluate with a professional. The fact of the matter is, your brain, your emotions are part of your body, and your body is a real. It's skin and bone, and it's not all spiritual, not all soulish, it's not all invisible. There is a part of it. There's a component that is spiritual at times. There's a component when you're talking about trauma, where there's a component that's emotional. But even in trauma, even people that you live in, you're traumatized, you're living on Kyla Montapati or whatever, these people, yes, prayer works. Yes, your family can help you on a day to day, but it's still very beneficial to talk to a psychologist or a mental health counselor. Why? Because these are trained professionals. And what I tell people, the number one reason, qui belle raison, professionnel, number one, t'es en confiance. That's the first thing. So gen bagay ou pa kwa ou ta jam di ou moun. Parce que ta reme, ate de bagay sa yo, or ou di ou fami, you ta pale these things behind your back for your friend. But when you speak to a professional, tout professionnel là, c'est en confiance li ou di moun nan. Moun li pa gen droit pour di ou lot moun sa ou te pale avec li, unless ou signé ou by permission. Number one. Number two, avec famille ou parler avec os amis, talk to other people. They judge you. That's a part of it. Yo juge you. Yo ka ba their advice. Yo ta do also say moi-même, but whatever. But when you're talking to a professional, there's no judgment. Moun nan la parler avec ou, moun nan la pour marcher, walk you through the recovery process. If it's mental illness, something that's very scary for us in our community, because we have faced with so much stigma. Bagay moun fou ap pale la, bagay moun fou. That thing moun fou, that term moun fou, so very, very harmful. And it's harmful because it gives an individual so much pressure and so much of a bad way of feeling about themselves. So I really think it's very important because it's non-judgmental conversations, confidential conversations, and you will get resources and strategies to help you get better. Did I Google?
Yes, thank you so much, Anne. Thank you. Yes, you did in fact answer the question. Although I have a last burning question, Johnny, I don't know if you noticed. Oh, there you go. You got her. Okay. She texted me. Okay, I'm glad you saw her. Yes. So while we're transitioning to my assembly member, and I wanted to ask you, now being a woman of faith, how do you separate your life, your profession? Or is it your life that you separate? Yeah. How do you separate your faith life, with your life as a mental health professional? When do you know to draw the line? How do you draw the line between the two? Again, having to face people in our community, with their myths and all their troubles, their trials and tribulations, and knowing that the Haitian community is always faced by trauma, drama, disaster, earthquake, hurricane, now COVID. Si moun ap bay problem, wap travay si pou pay bill and for the family lakay. With all of these in one package, now where do you draw the line? When you have someone of faith that comes to you and say, I've been coming here to you, or Madame Mbakwana la prière, c'est son kat pour ma bataille ici pour solutionner problem. How do you deal with all of this in one package?
So again, culturally speaking and consciously as we are, I take every tout moun vle ale bakat, moun nan vle ale faire bang, whatever they want to do. If that's what they want to do, again, you have to validate it. I'll validate it. I'll say, okay, this thing you want to do, if you do and it works for you, I agree. That's fine for you. But if not, I give the option. Why? Because again, we have to accept people how they are on their level, meet them where they are. I will give you resources if it's a matter of danger, because we've had that happen before where I walk someone to the hospital, invite them to come to Kings County, meet you at the front, say, bring your family member here. I'll do my porte la avec vous, parer l'ambulance. I've gone to people's homes and bought them. This sometimes is what we need. Ou met prier. Pas jamais du monde prier. Faut prier quand même. But ça pas veut dire it doesn't work sous pour un médicament. Ça pas veut dire prier par la passer, il pas marcher par les cas docteur. Right? So any way you look at it, deux bagages yo comme. N'a prier, mais n'a pas le cas docteur. Parce que si c'est un monde qui te fait sucre, on va dire moun nan pas prendre médicament non, vinn prier. On va dire moun nan ça. On va toujours moun nan prendre médicament, fait tout ça docteur a dit et n'a prier. So that's the thing with mental health as well. You do everything that you have to do from the professionals, but we'll help you as well. N'a supporter aux l'église. Parce que prier vrai, on va prier avec vous, of course. Mais nous pas do mépriser al docteur or don't do this or don't do what professionals do.
Ah,
Also,
First Lady a dit un gros bagay, oui là. Et on dit prier, veiller.
Priez,
Prier, veiller. Mais l'autre gros bagay que vous dit que je devais souligner, c'est et m'apprécier que vous dit en tant que première dame dans l'église, par exemple, pasteur, c'est le fait que vous reconnaissez que dans la culture, pas nous, comme haïtien, il y a des bagages qui marchent avec la culture nous, et façon qui est plus facile pour aborder un monde, c'est reconnaître et qui m'a cherché. Non seulement reconnaître, oui, mais quand l'autre mot, on va chercher pour me dire que non seulement reconnaître que mon nom peut-être li sorti non culture qui conseille de bagaille, mais ou adapter ou de façon à que ou ka attirer mon nom, ou pas faire un ennemi pour venir ensemble avec lui, pour capable bien parler avec lui. Parce que si on dit mon nom, c'est ça le fait pas bon, c'est pour l'un qui bon, nous venons un conflit. Donc, sauf les fait passer un, les pas passer. Donc, vraiment, m'apprécier ça, mais nous avons assembly member, Bichotte, who's here with us. We're gonna come back to you. We're gonna come back to you, and we just want to welcome the assembly member, and I'll let Mona Lisa, parce que moi-même pas même parler parce que there's a sister thing happening. As a matter of fact, I might just log off and let y'all sisters do your thing, because. But go ahead, Mona Lisa.
Thank you, Johnny. I just want to welcome our beloved assembly member, Rodneyse Bichotte, for taking time out of her very super busy schedule, because half an hour ago when I called her, she was still in a meeting. She's being pulled here and there. She has to change. She even has to change hairdos. She confuses me because she washes the hair, leave it natural. Then she blow dries it and leave it straight, making a strong fashion statement. Assemblymember Bichotte, thank you so much for respecting our rendezvous this afternoon. I know sometimes the schedule can be crazy, but you made it to us this afternoon. Again, our community welcomes you. We have a lot of our sisters that are watching, because I said Rodneyse is coming. They're like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm coming on, Mona Lisa. To all of you sisters that are doing it like that, I see you. But Anne, we're glad that you're here. Enjoy the sisterhood as well, like Johnny said. But Johnny, that doesn't exclude you from participating in the conversation.
Never.
My beloved host. Assemblymember Bichotte, the floor is all yours. Welcome. You're home. Do your thing.
Thank you so much, Mona Lisa. It's so good to hear from you. Thank you for inviting me. It's I love this production. Thank you so much. Thank you, my friend, for hosting this. I think I joined in early. I think you saw me. Did you see me?
Yes, we can see
Yeah.
you perfectly.
Yeah, early on. And I was like, I think I was too early. I think I came in like 2 hours ago or something.
You did. I
Right.
was testing to make sure that everything was working, and I saw you came in. I saw Anne also came on, and I was like, yes, everybody's testing
I
to
was
make sure that everything.
testing.
So yeah, I was on. I was on, and I
Okay,
saw you.
okay, good. Okay, because I'm like, oh, no, but this is great. I'm happy to be on your show once again, and my sister, it's great to see you. So I'm happy. This is a great sister thing and brother thing. But I just wanted to come in to bring greetings. As you know, um, the height of the George Floyd's death has brought us to Albany again. I am actually going to be on my way to Albany to vote on a number of legislation. And it's a lot of legislation regarding police reform. Obviously, the top one that everybody been hearing about is the repeal of 50A. George Floyd died on May 25th, as many of you know, with an officer putting his knee on his spine, his neck, and as a result, he couldn't breathe, very similar to Eric Garner, and he died. And these are these misconducts that has been going on for a very long time, specifically in the Black and Brown community. And so we've been working on a number of legislation that would expose these misconducts and change them. But it took the death of George Floyd for us to make some change because for a very long time we got pushed back. So we're going to be pushing the repeal of 50A, which exposes a law enforcement officer record, their disciplinary actions, their performance, things of that nature when they're dealing with civilians. There's a lot more to it. So that's going to be something that we're voting on this week. We're going to be also voting on a special prosecutor to handle a permanent special prosecutor to handle these type of cases when it's dealing with cops shooting or killing unarmed civilians. We're going to do Right to Monitor Act, so the ability for someone to record the situation. We're voting on body cameras for New York State Police. We have them in New York City. We're going to be voting on anti-chokehold, on strangulation, where it's illegal. A number of different other oversight. My bill actually is probably the one that's more controversial. It's the racial profiling bill. And apparently we have a disagreement between the Assembly and the state. So we're going to be voting it separately. My bill actually, when a police officer stop, question, and frisk you, the bill requires that they have to write a report and we have to collect all that data. The other bill that they watered down does not, kind of take that away, which defeats the whole purpose. So we're going to be pushing hard for my bill. We will pass it in one house. It won't become law unless if the state Senate also passes the same bill. It also allows a person to sue the police department if they are a victim of racial profiling. Again, we're working tirelessly on these bills. I'm getting ready, packing. We're going to be having a press conference on police reform tomorrow, and we're going to start with the bills. I'll be debating my bill, and I'll be speaking on the other bills. Wanted to know if you had any questions. And also, the New York City mayor just sent out a release about a form of defunding NYPD and reallocating some of those funds elsewhere.
Well, that was going to be part of my, one of the questions that I asked Assembly Member. I mean, I think, I've been on the streets protesting because, like most people, I've been personally affected as someone who got pulled over and for being in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time and having many guns being pointed at me. So I know the fear that instilled in me. And But that said, I think the question that I wanted to talk about is I was happy that you ended up on the issue of defunding the police, and of course that's very controversial because people often misunderstand what that means. Obviously, we are going to always continue to have a police department, but when you think about the issue of, for example, broken windows as a policy, right? I think often what's missing is that there's a focus on broken policy and less of a focus on what I would call broken lives, right? And what by that I mean the issue of our communities not having the resources, and you can go across the board from healthcare. COVID has demonstrated clearly what this has meant for our community in terms of the impact of COVID on communities of color, whether in the Bronx or Brooklyn or in Queens. Our people, because they live in denser areas, because they are the one who are the service workers or the frontline workers or essential service workers, they are disproportionately affected. And so, could you say a little bit more about, in terms of, it may not yet be policy, but much more of your thinking around what I personally call, and you may have a different word for it, broken lives, right? The issues that affect our communities beyond sort of the police. And you've laid out a number of great things that are going to happen, and I think New York can lead on those. But what is the Assembly thinking about in terms of, if, for example, money was shifted away from the police, how could those be used and where can they be applied to ensure that our community, your community in Brooklyn, can find those resources and use them to better their own lives?
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that question. First let me start with, the Los Angeles was the first city who kind of made that statement of defunding, as you mentioned, doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to have a police department. It's just saying that there are funds there that are probably being put to use in ineffective areas that can certainly be taken out and put in areas where many of our Black and Brown communities have suffered most. For example, in New York City, they're looking to shift allocation to youth and social services, which is something that there is a need for more funding. Many of the people who get incarcerated are youth because they are not doing anything. They're hanging around. Sometimes there's programming that's not available for these youth to attend. And so sometimes they get caught up with the wrong group, and the next thing you know, they're arrested. Social services can mean anything. When a family or community is stripped from very fundamental resources, anything dealing with, let's say, housing or benefits, or let's say food or whatever, when you've stripped that away from a community for a very long time, sometimes many people can get desperate and they're finding alternative routes to keeping for the survival, whether it's economics, whether it's, like I said, food, housing. You put people in a situation where they're desperate. So the funding, at least in New York City, will be also reallocated to social services, families who are in need to be kept afloat. Again, a lot of our Black and Brown communities who live in, let's say, NYCHA housing and rent stabilized housing, where they're not getting proper upkeep, which kind of impact the environmental being, and it impacts their kids being able to successfully do e-learning or just study. There's all these intricate aspects of it that plays a domino effect in the way of life of people.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I think when they're thinking about, let's take the money from these officers or these equipments, these military equipments, that are typically used only in our community for no good reason. Let's take those things, reallocate it to helping our youth, helping our average person, average citizen get access to quality health care or get access to economics, a job or something, or preparation for a job, or being able to have them be afloat so that they're not homeless. These are the things that we're thinking about. I'm happy that the mayor has certainly issued a statement to support that.
Very good. Do you know of any policies being considered? Not necessarily that it's going to be voted on this time around, but you've been on the show before to tell the community about the resources that were available immediately after COVID-19 hit and the state, pretty much the city, closed down. Is there anything that's being considered right now just to help, to provide additional help for local communities? And it could be anything in terms of that's within the wheelbarrow of the state in terms of benefits that could be extended. Do you know of anything like that that's being thought about?
So certainly one of the things I wanted to tell the population, especially the population that we're serving, is that there have been funds allocated to the city for undocumented workers. Many of us who are tax-paying citizens or non-citizens but taxpayers have received a stimulus check of $1,200 to everybody. And then there were some other unemployment insurance, pandemic benefits, $600, $1,300, whatever. So the Open Society Fund, which is managed and run by George Soros, and the president is Patrick Gaspar, who happens to be Haitian like us, actually allocated $20 million to New York City's Mayor's Fund. And that money is reallocated to organizations that service immigrant population, undocumented workers. So in our case, it will be a lot of TPS holders because they are undocumented, yet they are approved to work. And these individuals, depending on which organizations that they go to, whether it's like a HCC or HOP or Diaspora, they fill out an application and then they will get issued $400 for the individual. If they're married, it will be $800, and if it's a family, it will be $1,000. So this is a recent new program that was just launched, and we certainly want to help communicate that to the population. And there'll be a couple of phases of similar opportunities for people to participate. So that's a benefit that I think. Other things that are non-monetary outside of the stimulus check, or even outside of the PPP, which was extended to businesses, and unfortunately many businesses didn't get an opportunity, are just like regular things like food. We have been building pantries with our local churches. We've gotten some of the Haitian churches in the mix. We'll be receiving food from like Food Bank New York, City Harvest, United Way. We're really excited about that. These are non-perishable items that people can go home and cook. These are not cooked meals. These are like groceries, type items. So we're really excited about that, the food aspect. And as I mentioned before, I do want the population to know that our offices are helping people fill out their unemployment process, their own unemployment application. We have a specific portal. Also, when people call and say, hey, we haven't heard from the Department of Labor, we literally fill out the application for them in the portal, and we monitor that. And typically it takes 2 to 3 days to get a response from the Department of Labor. So those are some of the things that we're doing now. And certainly we would hope that the population are reaching out to us for those services.
Yeah. I know Mona's going to ask a question. I see her leaning, but I just want to clarify, because this is a really important point, that you have a special portal it's not just sort of the regular unemployment portal. I guess this is for elected officials to be able, that's really, really important for people to know. And I hope that this is some information, I'm sure, you know, some of our important organizations like Hope or Diaspora Community Services, who receive a lot of folks, who serve a lot of folks in our community, really should hear about, because this is one thing that I know a lot of people have issues with. They've applied and they've been waiting for weeks and haven't heard anything, and they're just kind of in the queue. So it's great to know that our elected official can actually get answers much faster. I appreciate that information. Mona Lisa?
Yeah, Assemblymember Bichotte, once again, I just want to express my joy for having you here today. And I've been charged with a bunch of questions, which I know we won't have time, but question que je pose, je pose en créole. Et gen un pile moun ki di bon, nous gon paquet élu haïtien, un paquet qui replacé, c'est pas rien yo fait pour communauté haïtienne. Et moi-même, dans dialogue que m'gen avec vous, et personnellement, nous partager qui ça qu'on a fait. Et moi-même toujours dans télévision, online, dans social media, on toujours rapporté un pile bagage sur les réseaux sociaux. Moi en contact avec mon fils surtout, avec Pierre, avec Pierre Guérien, qui toujours donne quelques feedbacks. Et parfois, nous sortir ensemble avec vous, aller dans quelques events, aller nous faire une représentation. Mais pendant la période Covid là encore, et côté que je pense bon, nous avons travaillé de la caille nous le temps, mais quand même, nous sortis dans la rue, moi, on a bail masque, nous on a fait un peu de travail. Et je connais quelques réunions tout, parfois je peux participer là-dedans. Et côté que, on peut même faire compte avec quelques élus pareil. Ouais, on dit bon, et pour qui ça nous décobre, et puis nous, qui quantité comme nous quitter pour la communauté haïtienne. Alors, qui je vous répondre à certains agences qui disent bon, yo bay l'argent, mais yo bay zami pa yo, et puis nous-mêmes yo pas ban nous. Je dis bon, mais moi-même tout, pas jeune tout, quand je vais pas accusé, me dit ou ces amis Rodneyse Bichotte, yo bon l'argent. Je dis non, yo pas bon l'argent. So, alors, donc puis clarifier ça pour nous, et puis m'a demandé notre deuxième phase question. Et en faveur jeune que m'a travaillé avec la communauté, est-ce que dans 20 millions ça que George Soros gagne, est-ce que gagne qui était dans pat là toujours pour Timoun yo pour summer youth?
OK, so premièrement, on connaît peuple anti-genre, yo peut-être pas de patient pour ça, yo en position triste, vous comprenez? Yo besoin d'aide là. On a fait tout ça nous a fait. Mais toujours à travailler avec Immigration Department de Immigration dans CTM pour make sure that peuple nous haïtien participer dans tout programme. So le programme OSF là, des temps des moun a dit oh il y a pas fait rien comme ça, mais je pas connaître c'est chaque jour m'a parler avec magistrat, mon immigration, peut-être ça, il pas grand pile haïtien qui t'a participé dans bagay ça, côté y a pas mon l'argent. Vous comprenez? Donc yo me dit comme ça, puis genre font un programme pour pile haïtien et puis organisation ça au plan il pas servir haïtien, il pas fait sens. So, nous faisons ça, nous avons plusieurs organisations qui travaillent, qui doivent relayer mon yo. Son programme là dit tout le monde. Sous ou travail, ou pas de papio, n'a du côté pour aller. OK? Si vous êtes ça dans ma board class, nous bataillons pour ça. Nous bataillons pour ça. Pour monde qui déjà qui citizen ou monde qui gagne papier, nous disons en créole, nous disons en radio, sous besoin d'aide, nous avons 3 ici dans l'office, le câble, l'office, nous aidons pile. Nous aidons toute nation, nous aidons pile haïtien. Il y a un Queens qui est l'office, Bronx, Manhattan, il y a l'office, peut-être, il y a l'office, son office, vous dites ça tout, vous connaissez John Gideon, Pierre Gideon, qui travaille dans l'office. Pour bagaille pour élèves, ça sont bagaille fond yo te coupé. Kounya avec ça, magistrat a dit aujourd'hui, il dit comme ça, il va retirer code dans la police là, département de police, et puis il va le mettre dans youth services. OK? Summer youth employment, c'est un gros bagage qui est coupé tout. So, quand il y a mes quoi, il va fund summer youth employment. Peut-être, il n'y a pas besoin de $10 millions là, il n'y a pas besoin de faire si c'est là. So, on travaille avec ça pour nous make sure qu'il y a youth service, qu'il y a youth programme. Mais le programme, ça me dit avant, des problèmes, il n'est pas pour nous. Le programme, ça, spécifiquement, c'est pour les gens qui travaillent, pour qui ont TPS, ou qui n'ont pas de papier, mais ils ont prouvé le travail, et puis il y a pas de problème. So, nous travaillons, oui, nous travaillons avec Farah Louis, avec l'Elio, qui l'a assemblé. So, nous connaissons backup fixer tout bagaille, mon Dieu. Mais nous avons fait tout ça nous avons fait pour nous mettre un système qui a brûlé en pile monde en même temps.
Assembly member Bichotte, nous connaissons un peu la majorité haïtienne dans Brooklyn. Une meilleure façon nous capable vivre c'est d'aller travailler avec les leaders de l'église. Qui genre office ou travail avec les leaders ça pour permettre que la population capable de joindre information qui a sorti de office ou qui a sorti de office et council member Farah Louis et parfois information ça est-ce que nous assurer que nous baillons en créole parce que parfois bon nous qu'on fait petit travail ensemble côté que nous traduit quelques documents ensemble avec office surtout ouais mais qui genre nous assurer que information ça a joindre communauté haïtienne non est-ce que nous travaillons avec church leader vraiment pour capable de joindre et service ça
Oui, so chaque semaine, nous allons à l'église, ok? Nous allons 3-4 l'église. Nous tout à travailler avec le pasteur. So, ça nous fait, nous parler avec le pasteur, nous demander au pasteur qui ça a besoin. Est-ce qu'il a besoin de food? Est-ce qu'il a besoin de manger? Pour faire pantry? Est-ce que l'église a besoin de la protection? Pour PPE, comme ça. Le premier bagage ça nous fait, nous avons fait un groupe forum. Nous avons fait un monde qui est dans l'église, the pastors, the leaders. Nous avons fait une teleconference, nous avons dit toutes les sources nous gagnent. Et puis nous disons comme ça, si vous avez besoin de participer avec nous, nous avons fait un programme avec eux. On va travailler avec l'autre l'église pour nous faire mass distribution. Ça veut dire que nous allons faire masse. On travaille sur magistrat, le board president Eric Adam, il y a pas de masse là, puis il y a un programme pour nous dans l'église, pour venir dans l'église là, pour masse là. Ça, c'est un bagage nous fait avec déjà. Bien, comme ça me dit l'autre fois, gain l'église, qui gain pantries, food pantries. Ça veut dire que nous jouons un moyen pour que capable recevoir manger, pour pain, tomates, pommes de terre, du riz, comme ça. Nous avons venu dans l'église et recevoir. Ça sont les food pantry. So, nous travaillons avec l'église. So, nous toujours communiquer. Dans l'église là, whether it's through Zoom or télévision or whatever. On dit tout ça en créole. Dans l'église haïtienne. On dit tout ça, nous avons un numéro, nous avons un website, tout côté, nous avons joué les sources. So, nous toujours communiquer avec toute l'église, anglais, avec haïtien.
Assembly member, dans clergé, est-ce que nous avons un prêtre là dans tout prêtre catholique? Est-ce que nous avons un vaudouisant? Qui je nous rend accessible à l'autre monde? Parce que moi, je mentionne les pasteurs en pile, mais est-ce que nous avons accès aux églises catholiques, à vaudouisant, quelquefois, faith monde que tout le monde welcome?
Oui. So, actually, programme nous fait, premier programme nous fait avec Saint-Jérôme. Nous te fait avec Père Yvon Pierre. So, nous travaillons avec tout. L'église, le samedi tout. So, nous fait Adventiste. Hier, nous avec Pasteur Jean-Philippe, Oreb, FBA. So, nous fait bagay, nous fait avec toute religion. Avec la Pakistan community, nous avons la masse. So, muslim, nous fait programme avec muslim. yo aussi. Avec juif yo gen bagay yo déjà, mais depuis yo besoin d'aide. So nous faisons avec tout les déjà. Nous pas discriminer catholique, protestant. Moi avec tout le monde, nous déjà fait le premier programme que fait avec nous, c'était avec catholique. OK? Et nous allons continuer à faire un plus programme avec toutes l'autre denominations.
Merci Assembly Member Bichotte, nous réellement avancé sur nos journées et nous pouvons nous arriver dans l'heure côté que nous devons et finir avec l'émission et nous voulons retourner avec Anne Tallegrand qui est là comme un spécialiste en mental health et pendant Assembly Member là Anne, est-ce qu'on a quelques questions à me poser tout même qui sont capables de supporter le travail qu'on fait dans la communauté parce que nous réalisons que la communauté haïtienne a réellement un grand besoin. Et moi-même, mesdames, nous connaissons beaucoup déjà, nous connaissons depuis cette communauté. Je ne frappe pas nous tous les deux. N'importe qui aime un téléphone, nous connaissons côté nous, et ma vie frappe pas nous. Les communautés a commencé à venir, moi, ma vie déposer mon devant porte la caille.
What I want to say is, I want to say thank you to our Assemblywoman, Rodneyse Bichotte, parce que moi connais effort fait pour la communauté, I know very well. Action. So I want to say, first and foremost, thank you so much for your passion and your dedication. We couldn't ask for a better person for the job, male or female, first of all. Second of all, I want to say that as this is coming to an end, like coming to a close, the COVID-19, the height of it, and then we other added stressor, this whole George Floyd, and what it highlighted for our community. I want to say one thing. I think that community Haitian for us, I know we have some spaces where we have to talk like things like that, but some kind of forum where we can come together and like debrief on these what the current event, like a town hall type of a meeting. I think that would be great within our own community. I would ask for that as growing up, people don't know where to leave things, where to like just vent. I think maybe a town hall meeting is virtual, but I think we need that. And I know we've done that. You've done several so far, but I look forward to it at all times. That's all I think.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do, First Lady. And I think that's a great idea. I think especially the language, the second English as a second language community should understand all the changes in police reform and their rights. Because a lot of people might still be operating under the notion that a police can do these things to them. But we will have a forum. That's a good idea. Hopefully towards the end of the week or next week on all of these changes that we're making in our laws.
Yes. Thank you, Anne, for that question. And I think you were reading my mind and the words that you've expressed as far as your gratitude for the Assembly members' input into the community, her hard work and her dedication. She can tell you, she and I will fight. We'll fight for the same reasons. But we go at it, right, Assembly member? But at the end of the day, she knows she will deliver. When people are crying, I say, Assembly member, you got to do something. I have this agency. They didn't get this fund. They didn't get this, this resources. You got to do it. You got to do it. And with a lot of honest conversations. And she knows at the end of the day, I love her very dearly. And I know she loves me as well.
Yes.
Because I remember the early stages of COVID. Trust me, I was going through it. I needed it too, Anne, but she was there for me. I'm grateful to her for that. But again, we do know that our community, like you just said, we do need to have ongoing conversation in our own language. Nous besoin pop forum pa nous, pop plateforme pa nous, nous pas besoin prendre ou libre sous l'autre monde. Et communauté haïtienne a besoin pour nous réunir tout professionnels yo, pour nous chita, pour nous parce que just because nous mettez on mon office, c'est pas lui même seulement qui va résoudre tout problème, nous réaliser ça. Et nous croyons si tout notre professionnel yo camper des leadership assembly member à supporter Et si gen parle mal pour parler, en réunion chita parler avec tête frette que nous pas de respecter un l'autre. Parce que respect ali pour beaucoup. Demande c'est pour tout le monde bay un l'autre respect dans communauté ça. Et assembly member once again nous connaît fort aller pour monter Albany, qu'on descend show là, qu'on finit show obligé monter Albany. Once again, please be safe. Continue to do what you do. You will get criticized, you will be criticized. It's all good, it's okay, but stay focused. You know what the agenda is, you know what our needs are. You know, keep up the good work. None of us are perfect, but trust me, eventually, if we know that we are one people, we have one destiny, and our job is to have each other's back in everything that we do. And I know you have our back in Albany, and it's proven. It's not something that's being done under the table. Thank you for being out there, even when it's most dangerous, with or without masks, with or without gloves. You're out there, you're running. Please drive safely, get safely to Albany, and we hope to see you back again with Council Member Lewis, so you guys can show how your collaboration has made changes within this community.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for putting the show. You and Johnny. Thank you, Anne, for being here. I'm really, again, appreciative of all that you all are doing. You know, being a mouthpiece to our community is very, very important. And this is information is power. So thank you. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for inviting me. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Johnny?
Apologies. Yes, I was going to say, and we are reaching the end of it. We want to give you an opportunity to give us your final thoughts, unless Mona Lisa has more questions. But just to give us your final thoughts, what you want us to be thinking about, what you want to leave us with before we close the show.
I want to leave the community with this: mental health is just as important as physical health. I want our community to remember here in Brooklyn, at least if you're here, I want to highlight that I work at Kings County Hospital, 451 Clarkson Avenue, where there are many Haitian, Creole speaking, mental health professionals ready, willing, and able to answer questions, to do the hard work with whether you're a child, adolescent, an adult. We have Haitian Creole speaking professionals. We even have a Haitian clinic that we run. We have even Creole speaking. And I just want people to remember that this resource is available. If anybody has any questions, they can reach out to me on my Facebook. You could message me, and I'll share information. But that's it. Be grateful. Wake up in the morning and take a deep breath, and be grateful for what you have, and whatever you don't have. As long as you have breath, you have hope to gain it and rebuild.
Wonderful. Well, Mona Lisa, since we always do the handover, since fortunately for me, I opened while you were switching phone, I'll let you close for us today.
Well, once again, I want to extend my most sincere thanks to you, Anne, and to our beloved Assembly Member Rodneyse Bichotte for taking time out of your busy schedule, because we know that you have a family. It's Sunday. Technically, that's your day of rest before you get back to work. But you did consider us important enough to come and be with us and sit on this platform to share valuable information. Although we didn't get to ask all our questions, but we do hope that you can come again where the audience will be full of questions. I mean, right now I'm sitting here with a bunch of questions that people have texted to me, but unfortunately we're out of time. In our next segment, definitely we will invite you, just so we make sure that we cover all these unanswered questions. Please be well, be safe, and have a wonderful week. I love you.
I love you too. Bye, Mrs. Celestin. Thanks for having me. Have a great week.
Well, First Lady, if you call me Mrs. Celestin, I'm just going to keep calling you First Lady. So, c'est Johnny. Non, MoJo, c'est Johnny. Mona Lisa avec Johnny. Mais vraiment, moi-même, tout me plaît remercier. Et I want to tell all and everyone who's watching who's been with us for this past hour and 10 minutes. Thank you so much for supporting the show and for sharing. We truly appreciate your eyeballs, but we also appreciate the fact that you continue to support us. And so, on behalf of Dr. Monarisa and myself, I will say thank you, and we will close the show and say see you again on the MoJo Show, same time, same place.
Same
Thank you.
station.